So we're headed out to a site visit today to the Outpost project. Thought I'd bring you along. Site work is ongoing. We've been working throughout the winter on that. We've also got our foundation in. Site work and foundation work, time consuming, labor intensive, but not particularly interesting or glamorous work to showcase. So now we're entering the framing phase, and that's a much more interesting and engaging phase of the project. It's really where that first sketch starts to take shape. It's also where we are doing more regular site visits. So typically if this project were close to the studio, I would be conducting weekly site meetings. This one, because it's so far away, is on an as needed basis. The success of the project really depends on your ability as the architect to communicate your ideas, and we do that through drawings, but also coordinate your ideas with all of the different subtrades that are tasked with constructing the building, right? These people are acting as your hands in effect. And it would be crazy to think you could build something like a custom piece of residential architecture without ever seeing what your hands are doing. And so that's kind of how I think about construction site visits. So here on the coast of Maine, there's something like 4,500 islands. And what you don't fully appreciate until you start building here is just how much effort is consumed moving materials. Everything arrives by boat or barge, and it's just subject to a different set of rules. Not only does it have to fit on the boats that service the island, but it also has to be packaged in quantities and sizes that can be lifted by the dockside hoist. This doesn't apply necessarily just to island work, but I think it does point out the idea that the more you build and the more you observe construction and you're involved in the construction process, the more you start to understand just how the dimensions of materials, the physical weight of things, how things are assembled, they're all practical limitations on what you can design. And I think as designers, architects, we're always looking for those boundaries. Quick little tour here. This will be the approach, main path to the front door. You can see that peeking out over here. So as we walk up to the house, you'll see that not all the window openings have been cut out from the walls here. We're getting our windows in a few weeks, so this will all change pretty significantly. So the barn is over here. Front door. This will be the mudroom, looking out the main deck here. This leads to the master dressing. This is the laundry area in here, this desk unit we just designed. This is the master bath, straight ahead. Master bedroom here. So here we are in the main living space. Kitchen's down here. Got the main windows. They have it all sort of plasticed off because the winds are pretty intense off the water. Mechanical space is going to go up there. Our laundry and entry space is sort of forward of that. Guest space is around back here. Entry to the guest bedroom there, guest bath, out to the site beyond. Again here, these are the west-facing window walls, and that'll get opened up here. We get our windows to put in soon. These guys are framing out the master bedroom, working on setting rafters right now. So these site visits, they're kind of equal parts answering questions and observing the work in progress. Most of the time we'll start off by walking through each one of the spaces and we'll answer the questions that have come up. It's also a chance to do some of the design build work. So we don't draw everything. I'm not drawing every last plumbing stack here. I'm not designing all the HVAC ductwork. I'm going to typically design that with that subcontractor in the field. So if you rarely visit the site, you miss the chance to sort of catch things that maybe you didn't draw, or maybe someone interpreted differently than you had intended. Not long from now, we're going to have electrical, plumbing, HVAC systems that are installed in place, and behind these studs we'll have insulation here, we'll have sheetrock going on, and We need to be able to catch anything that we've missed before that happens. So this is obviously a good time to do that. The rough framing stage is also a perfect time to walk through all the spaces with the client if they're available and around. In preparation for the rough-in stage, we've been discussing all the cabinetry in this new desk design that we've come up with. There's security system components and locations.
I like that so much better.
We're talking about the TV size and the mounting height. And when we were reviewing the bathroom framing for the master bath, that kind of gave me an idea to open up the bedroom space, and that's precipitated some new changes. So we'll be talking about that soon. So I don't bring much to these site visits. The iPad is one of the key components. It's got the drawing set on it. I can use it for note-taking, a backup camera if I need to, or for sketching out design ideas or figuring out details. So this fits in the top pocket here. Probably the most important piece of equipment is my camera, and this has a wide angle lens on it. This is a 16-35. This allows me to capture almost any field of view. When you're photographing tight spaces, having a real wide angle is very helpful. Of course, I have extra batteries for that. Next most important thing is a 25-foot tape measure. You're going to use this for testing out proportions, checking dimensions. You're probably still designing things, so this just helps immensely. And it's nice not to have to borrow someone else's. SD cards for the camera. That just fits in my Pelican case wallet there. I like having a drone. A drone allows you to see things on the roof or higher on an elevation that aren't otherwise easily accessible. It's not a substitute for getting up there and looking at it, but sometimes you're just not able to access a place, and you can find out if something's been done correctly just very simply with the drone. And the last thing, this kind of fits in the same theme. Bringing a GoPro, for me, just extends my ability to see things. I'll set it on a shelf, record the meeting. I can also record time lapses. And if you pair it with a selfie stick, you can actually reach to places that you wouldn't otherwise be able to see without really having to climb. So that's a helpful thing to have too. That's it. I'll usually wrap the visit up by taking photos of every one of the spaces, and that's really important to have as a record of progress and a reminder of what was there or actually wasn't there. They're also a good visual check when you return to the studio and you're writing up the field report. So every site visit will have a field report. We document the weather conditions, work that was in progress, action items, outstanding, questions, things that need to be resolved. And this just acts, again, as a project record, so we can look back and understand what is happening at a certain point in time. It's super cold out here. I can't even feel my hands, and these guys are working in blowing wind and up on a ladder. So it's hard building here in Maine in winter. Send the young guys up there, huh, Luther?
Yes, sir. I'll send them up there now.
You're directing. It's good to be the boss.
Yeah.
Sometimes.